Okay, so I realize this is like my third rant in a row. Clearly, again, I am still in the same clothes. So that much must have been obvious. I have a lot on my mind tonight, so kind of gonna try to get it out in blocks because they're all kind of separate issues. But Canadians, in case you guys haven't noticed, I am Canadian. That much, pretty obvious. I speak English. I am very white, very pale, very pasty, and brown hair, blue eyes. I'm about as Canadian as it gets. My parents born in Canada. My grandparents born in Canada. My great grandparents obviously are European because I am the standard Canadian whose grandparents are all European and got here and yada yada yada. So now that that's parts out of the way, we do not live in igloos. Just so you know, we don't live in igloos. We live in very nice, very diverse housing, apartment buildings. For the unfortunate, we live on the streets, cardboard boxes, same as anywhere else. It does not snow all year round. It is maybe 8 months of snow, maybe out of 12, and probably less. It's not always minus 40 degrees Celsius outside. It usually, in the summer, it can go up to, 30 degrees Celsius. Sad that that's how hot it gets here, but nonetheless, in the winter, it can get up to minus 45 or minus 48. Rarely, but it's happened. People do freeze to death in our country. Nothing new for us. Very tragic for all of it's happened to. Google us. I have lots of friends who, when they moved here, they didn't want to move here because they didn't want to live in an igloo with sled dogs. Sled dogs do exist. So do igloos and all that other stereotypical stuff that you know about. The igloos are up north. We still have them. Very far up north. The sled dogs is in Inuit Northwest Territories thing, so the upper half of Canada. We have sled dogs and stuff like that, but majority of Canadians don't even know that. Yeah, a lot of the stereotypes that people think about us, Canadians don't even know about. How about them apples? Yeah, is there any, stereotypical things you've heard about Canada? Is there any reason you think that? Where have you heard it? I'm kind of curious to see where all these stereotypes come from. Yes, we have beavers. We see them quite often. Yes, we have moose. We see those quite often. Deer, all that kind of stuff. We have a lot of trees. It's what we do. We have the highest amount of um, resources, resources, and we're very good at exporting them and having them sold back to us for money, which is stupid. But yeah, and it's really beautiful. I suggest you Google it. And Canada's very big. We are separated into provinces, not states. And speaking of states, we are very different from the United States. In case anybody was wondering, the United States of America and Canada are two very distinct countries. Very, very distinct. So, to anybody on the other half of the world who lumps us together, don't do it at all. It drives us crazy because we spend our lives trying to tell other people why we're different from the United States. And not that the United States is bad. I know many of you and many people across the world think the United States is evil and death to America and all that kind of stuff, but it's really not that bad of a country. It really isn't. Like, you're lumping every single person in that country together when all you get to see is the bad stuff in it. Just like in Canada, everybody sees like, oh no, all the girls are sluts and we all dress like sluts. We act like sluts. The things we do are just terrible, but it's not true. You're seeing the worst of our country rather than the best in our country. Especially Canada. Canada has many faults, many of which most people will never find out about because we like to bury that side of Canada and its history. like the Chinese head tax, or our colonization with the First Nations and our treatment in the residential schools, and what we do with our natural resources and all that kind of stuff. But we have a lot of really beautiful positive sides to us. And Canadians are really beautiful people. You know, we believe in good causes, we fight for good causes. You know, we try to help in any way we can. That's what we're known for, you know, foreign aid and all that kind of stuff, thanks to the Liberals. But you know, we're a very complex country, like any country. That's like saying, you know, Saudi Arabia or Iran, you know, they're horrible countries because they're Islamic countries, and you know, they make everybody cover and stuff like that. Like, you can't generalize. You know, and the United States, I can't speak for the United States, but I know people from the United States, and I've been to the United States. Sometimes they have a rough exterior, but like my best friend Mikey, who, rest in peace, passed away very recently, and he's in that, oops, over here, I mean, in that picture frame right there. He was from New York, and he is honestly one of the most amazing people I've met in the entire world. And he was American. Go figure. You know, he was very, very different than other people thought he was. And then people generalized Americans to be, you know. And I know Canadians, sorry to say this, but we make fun of Americans for being stupid all the time. You know, like, not me personally, because I'm always the one fighting for Americans, because I don't believe you should ever generalize any country at all, because every person in the country is distinctly different. But I just wanted to get that out there. Canadians, Americans, very different. It doesn't matter how you see them, they are still very different. Although we speak English and we share things, please remember that we are very, 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 very different. And that you really need to get to know people before you generalize them. Because I've been labeled a whore, a slut, a bitch, everything. Pardon the language. But it's the God honest truth. I had someone just the other day, you know, swear at me and call me a whore and a horrible person and an infidel. Because I'm Canadian. You know, I didn't do anything to said person. You know, that's the way he felt about me. Because we're all the same. Even though I respect everybody, I'm very modest, I'm very honest, I don't try to stab at anybody back, you know, like you know what I mean? So, before you generalize somebody, get to know them. You know, don't make assumptions. Don't judge people based on what you've heard, what you think, and what others tell you. Because I have a lot of friends who are influenced by their cultures and their families' opinions on girls like me. And they're not true. And it's hurtful. So, that's my rant. Hope you enjoyed. Leave comments below about what kind of stereotypes you've heard about Canadians and anything else you care to share. I'd love to hear it. So, thanks for listening. Later.